Today, we're going to do things a little bit differently. Today, we're going to talk about failure, a topic I'm very familiar with. Then this has nothing to do with numbers or engagement or anything like that. This is literally my third video, and I'm not expecting a lot when it comes to any of that right now. When it comes to the word gothic, chances are you already have a very specific aesthetic in mind. Maybe something that looks like this has to do with really the process of allowing yourself to fail at something, to be bad at something, and to grow from your experiences. I think that generally speaking, because so much of what we do is filmed and documented by ourselves and by our family and by our friends, we kind of have a desire to be excellent at things and to show the best parts of ourselves. And obviously not referring to all the constant fail compilations that have originated way further back than even like the current internet, like America's Funniest Videos, that sort of thing, which is fun to watch, I think, for many people, and maybe not the people who were in the videos, at least not initially. Naturally, we want to be good at what we do, and we want people to be proud of what we do and to admire us for being excellent at things. And if we're not excellent at something, and if we're not nailing it, we might want to keep that kind of on the down low until we can, show some sort of product or some sort of process that we can be proud of. And while I think that's fairly natural to want to do, especially in 2019, going into 2020 and beyond, I also think that can be kind of unfortunate because you can find yourself not trying things or not sharing in some sort of hobby with other people because you are afraid of seeming like a loser or a failure for not being good at it yet. And it's not to say that if you should share all of your hobbies with other people or that you can't have your own personal private things, because obviously you absolutely could and should. But I think that sometimes the fear of failure keeps us from doing things that seem amazing or wonderful, but we're like, oh, but I would suck at that, or I would be so bad at that, or I tried it like 2 times and it didn't go very well, so I'm just not naturally gifted in that way. I guess I'm just not an artist. So when I wanted to make these videos, when I wanted to start a YouTube channel and start talking about some of my interests, including obviously Jane Austen, as that's the content of my last 2 videos, I had some very lofty goals in mind. I'm very used to the general advice or the kind of, wow, that was ambitious type comments from professors and mentors and friends who have heard and watched me attempt to do things that in my mind seem so grand and amazing, and I'm completely new at it. Instead of doing something simple or something that would make sense for a beginner to try, I'm like, I want to make this whole video explaining Jane Austen and the Gothic, and I'm going to go through all these features. I want to have video clips. I want to do dramatizations. I want to maybe have other people be in it and do this whole crazy thing. And this is my second video I've ever really made. That's a very positive kind of attitude to have about trying something. And I'm not saying that's bad, or, you should feel positive about trying something new and you should go out and do it. But it can also lead to a certain level of disappointment or failure when you go and try out an art project or a creative endeavor or something along those lines and realize that, oh, it didn't turn out at all the way I had in my head. But when it comes to failing at something, you can either kind of laugh at it or get really discouraged. And sometimes both. That's fair. I've been both at the same time. I've refilmed everything maybe 5 times. Like the whole thing. The whole video. multiple times. The first time, I was doing it with my phone, and I had certain very ambitious ideas that were not really working. And the second time, I just reconnected with a friend who is now lending me her equipment. Thank you, Lorinda. And I was, testing things out and working out my backdrop and doing all these things and mics and whatever. And at one point, I filmed the whole thing without it being in focus. At another point, I filmed the whole thing without the microphone being plugged in. Ultimately, as well, Catherine's brother James shows up. At several points in the editing process, the computer just completely shut off. It just stopped, and I lost everything, or I lost all my progress. There were points where I was filming and I would, while I'm gesticulating, brush against my face and ruin my makeup, or a hair would just begin to get too much in my face, or something wasn't right with my wardrobe, or XYZ, whatever problem, or the light was weird, or it wasn't consistent with the last shot, and this and that. And again, this is my second video, but I would just scrap the whole thing and do it all over again. And I started in September. Not fully, but I had made the very first shot coming in, and I had written it, and I had done all these things, and I'd shot a couple of things with my brother, and I just wasn't sure what the next step was. And then I met with Lorinda several times to go over the script, to see her opinion, and she gave me this equipment, and just through the whole process of filming and refilming and editing and doing this and waiting and whatever, my video, which I had wanted to come out before Halloween, was now last second being rushed to come out on Halloween. And my idea of it being a 30-minute video that could explain the Gothic and do all these things and whatever and be like aesthetically amazing like ContraPoints or whoever was not happening. And it was almost 40 minutes long. It is almost 40 minutes long. And I was like, no one's gonna watch it. But I posted it anyway. And I went to go hang out with Lorinda and her fiance and realized that when I'd uploaded it, the background music was too loud. And I came home and I took it down and I took out the background music and I re-uploaded it and I put in the closed captioning, and it came out the day after Halloween. Oh, you want to know the most amazing fail? Is the candle scene. When I come in with the candle in the beginning, I wanted that to be one of the main background features. So in some of the original shots, which are not in the video, but I will display them here, you'll see the candle in the background, lovely and bright and smoking as it burns the varnish off of my bookshelf, because I'm an idiot who didn't realize somehow that candles can burn wood. And I had two other candles going on at the same time in little lanterns that were scented, and my idiotic brain thought, that doesn't smell very good. The only reason why I figured it out, I didn't figure it out. My brother came in and looked and said, I think I smell something burning, no? And he looked up, and beneath it, and there is ash from where the candle had begun to burn a hole straight through. I'm very good at making something that's supposed to be easy breezy CoverGirl look like a hot mess. It's just one of my many skills, and it's something that I am getting better at. As much as it sucked and as frustrated as I was, I learned every step of the way what not to do. I learned by failing. It sucks I get it. When things aren't going right, it is not fun. I'm not going to pretend it's fun. But when I learned about the focus, it was something I was going to check every time. When I learned about the microphone, it was something I was going to check every time. Like when the computer crashed or when this happened, I learned to save as much as possible. You know, when I learned about the sound, I meant that I was going to make sure it wasn't too distracting before I upload it next time. Like, different things, as much as it sucks to fail at that time, it's something you learn from and that you have the opportunity to grow from the next time you do it. And I learned not to burn candles in a bookshelf. Oh my god. Sometimes the lesson you're learning is not the lesson you want to learn, but the lesson you need to learn. It's not always about not failing so much as fixing one thing that can make your whole life easier, or that can make the whole project or the whole class or the whole whatever it might be run smoother than the last time. In general, in life, I would recommend asking for help whenever you need it, admitting when things aren't going quite the way you want them to be, and to learn from your mistakes. To not look at something going wrong as being a total failure, a total life-ruining, embarrassing thing, but to look at it and be like, okay, so that didn't run the way I wanted it to go. What can I learn from this? What can I do better next time? How can I do better next time? And, as cliche as it may sound, keep moving forward. You'll be happy that you did.